Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world. Thank you for joining this webinar today. My name is Ashwin. I'm a marketing analyst with Zoho Analytics, and I'm joining you today from Chennai. It is famously said that Chennai has 3 seasons in a year. That's hot, hotter, and hottest. We are now moving into the hotter season at 87 degree Fahrenheit and 57% humidity. All right, with that quick introduction, I will be discussing on how sales analytics drives revenue growth in any organization. I hope you can all see my screen and hear me well. If you have any trouble, please let me know through the questions box within the control panel. Before we get to the session, a couple of housekeeping items. For the benefit of the group, I have muted all the participants. However, if you have any questions, please let me know through the questions box within the control panel anytime during this webinar. So what do we got here? We get started with the revenue growth cycle, and then we move on to answering the 5 questions to revenue growth. I quickly summarize the webinar for you, and then finally we throw the floor open for an interesting Q&A. Before we get started with the session, I would like to introduce a very important person. He is indeed the reason for this presentation, and that's none other than our sales manager. So neither of us can simply wave a magic wand to drive revenue growth. It's a continuous, step-by-step process. The revenue growth cycle is one such model that talks about the 5 essential steps to drive revenue growth in any organization. The revenue growth cycle starts by setting a realistic revenue target for your team and for your organization. Once you're done setting the targets, the execution cycle kicks in, followed by stage 2, where you begin to monitor the performance of your teams. Once you're done with that, you get monitored through internal reviews as step 3 in the revenue growth cycle. Step 4 is all about introspecting the effectiveness of your supporting activities. And finally, you lay down a course correction to help you align your activities to achieve the desired revenue growth. Now, most of the organizations have different approaches towards driving revenue. However, they are highly likely to fall into the same or a similar model. Like I said, the revenue growth cycle is a continuous process and it keeps going on and on. So most of the organizations like yours would have by now established a sales process, set up your sales teams, define their roles and responsibilities, identify their training needs, and all that's necessary to keep your sales up and running. However, to understand how sales analytics in particular drives revenue growth in this framework, I'm going to pick the most important question in each of these 5 stages. They are in some high-sounding strategic questions, but are certainly some of the most common questions in sales, yet they remain unanswered. That leaves us with 5 questions to drive revenue growth. To help us answer these questions, I will be toggling between the presentation and the application Zoho Analytics. Just a few words about Zoho Analytics. We started off in the year 2007 as one of the pioneers in cloud and BI analytics. 10 years down the line, we emerged as a self-service SaaS application. Today, we have more than 9,000 customers and 1 million happy users, and we have presence in more than 180 countries. Folks, a quick spoiler alert for those who are new to Zoho Analytics and for the users. I'm not going to take much of your time, but I'll explain the product in 3 simple steps. Zoho Analytics can help you fetch data from more than 250 data sources in the forms of files, feeds, cloud and local databases, and popular business applications. That data gets visually analyzed as pre-built reports and dashboards with the help of more than 50 visualizations. On top of that, you can also build your own reports and dashboards using the simple drag and drop feature. Once you're done with that, you can collaborate with your teams or cross-functional teams, and Zoho Analytics empowers business users with multiple options to collaborate, such as you can embed these reports and dashboards in your websites or blogs, or also you can have them privately shared with your team members. With that quick introduction of the product, let's go to step one, which is about setting a realistic revenue target. In this stage, I'm going to pick one of the basic yet simple questions that haunts the entire sales fraternity. What is that question? It's how do I commit my sales numbers to my boss? So our sales manager faces the same question. So our sales manager does the math, does the calculations, and presents a fancy sales target to his boss. Of course, the boss is not convinced. The boss sets a higher sales target, and our sales manager tries to negotiate on that to settle down on a decent figure. Bad luck, the target keeps increasing, and finally they end up setting an unrealistic revenue figure. Well, the precious sales time is wasted, and the morale of the team takes a beating. So what's finally happened to our target? Our sales manager ends up thinking that he has become the target. All right. So what if I told you that we can help the sales manager and the boss forecast their sales figures to define some realistic sales targets? Now, precise sales forecasting can iron out these differences and can help a sales manager and the boss to see through the same lens. So in order to set a realistic revenue figure, let's now see how to forecast your sales numbers. Now for that, I'm going to switch to Zoho Analytics. Hope you can see my screen. All right, so this is a landing page of Zoho Analytics. As a prerequisite to Sales Analytics, you should have integrated your Zoho Analytics account with your CRM service. For this demonstration, I have integrated my Zoho Analytics account with Zoho CRM. In just a few steps, you can also integrate Zoho Analytics with the other CRM services such as Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, HubSpot, or be it Shopify, or anything that's got to do with sales. Integration is also pretty much easy. It can be done in simple few steps. So this integration fetches all the necessary modules and fields from your CRM service to Zoho Analytics for analysis. What you see on the screen is a workspace that is just the outcome of the integration, and I call it Sales Analytics Demo. On the left-hand side panel, under the Data tab, are all the modules from your CRM service that has got imported or fetched into Zoho Analytics. So I'm going to pick one of the modules to show you the different fields that lie within the module. So I've just picked the deals module, which essentially talks about all the opportunities that are available for the sales team. Yeah, there you have it. So as you can see, the different fields such as potential name, potential owner, potential ID, account ID, lead source, agent days, age tier has been fetched from your CRM service into Zoho Analytics. All right, now getting back to a basic question on how to forecast the sales. Before we get to that, let's learn how to build a sales trend report on which we will be forecasting our sales figures. So to do that, I click on the plus icon and I choose New Chart View. Now I'm going to populate a chart that has the timeline on the x-axis and the sales amount on the y-axis. So I'm going to pick the closing date and I put it into my x-axis shelf. And for the y-axis, I choose the sales amount, and in this case, the name of the field is one amount, and I've dropped it into the y-axis. Now I would like to build this trend only for the last 12 months. So to do that, I click on the filters tab. And once again, I choose closing date. And I drag and drop it into the filter box. I switch from actual to relative. And I click on the months tab. And I say add new range. And in here, I define that I would like to build my sales trend report only for the last 12 months. All right, so I click here to generate the graph. So for ease of understanding, I'm switching from a line with markers graph to a smooth line graph. And I'm also going to put the respective sales figures against the respective month on the graphs. So to do that, I click on the gear icon. I choose axis and I check the box that says show corresponding y-axis value as data label on the chart, and I hit apply. All right, there you have it. You have the sales trend from the month of April 2019 to March 2020. And the numbers that you see on the line are the respective sales values for that particular month. So with that chart in place, now let's learn how to forecast our sales to help us set some realistic revenue targets. To do that, I click on the settings, the gear icon, and I navigate to forecast. I click on add forecast, and since I'm going to forecast my sales figures, I click on one amount. So the first field in the forecast window talks about the number of months for which you would like to have your forecasting done. So I would like to forecast my sales for the next 3 months. I am also ignoring the current month as we are yet to close the month. So we just done, so I hit on apply. And I have it right there on the screen. So the dotted line that you see here is nothing but your sales trend that has just been forecasted. And the numbers that you see on the dotted line are your sales estimates for the next 3 months. All right, so as a sales manager, you might want to take these numbers as your baseline numbers, or you can take them as a guideline to help you define some realistic targets for your team. You might want to put a 10 or 20% on the numbers that are forecasted here to help them arrive at a realistic revenue target. Not just that, it can also help you validate the revenue targets that your subordinates present to you. So with that, I quickly save the report. I say sales forecasting report. I call it new. All right. So let's get back to the presentation. So with the sales trend forecasted, we are now able to define some realistic revenue targets. We are also able to validate the targets presented by the team. The forecasting feature also helps us in optimizing the resource utilization and helping us achieve the targets. Not just that, the team is pretty much optimistic about achieving these targets because they are pretty much reliable and realistic. And finally, you're able to lay down a clear sales roadmap to help your team achieve the sales numbers. Good that we have defined some realistic revenue targets. So with that, we move on to stage 2, in the revenue growth cycle, and I call it the performance monitoring. So, this is one of the questions that keeps lurking in the back of our minds, irrespective of what designation we hold in an organization. And the question is, how is my sales team performing? Does that ring a bell? Are we able to relate to that? Our sales manager has the same question. So the minute our sales manager asks the team on the performance, our sales manager gets to hear that the markets are down, the pricing is an issue, the competition is pretty stiff, very difficult to fight through, the customers are not responding, I tried my level best. Well, that creates a very hazy picture of the ground reality for our sales manager. But what if I told you that we can get our sales manager some fine grained team performance reports that can help our sales manager work alongside with the team in guiding them towards achieving the sales goals? Yeah, so with that, now let's see how do we build these sales performance reports that's going to help our sales manager assess the team's performance effectively. So once again, I'm switching back to Zoho Analytics to help us understand this. So this time I'm going to work on the leads module from my CRM platform. So I pick the leads module from the data tab right here within the left panel. So the leads module has different fields like the last name, the company name, the lead owner's ID, email ID, mobile number, website, and a lot more. So to visually analyze this data, I'm going to pick a pivot table to do that. To do that, I click on the plus symbol and I choose New Pivot View. So here in the pivot table, I'm essentially going to analyze the performance of my salespersons individually. So that makes me pick the lead owner and drop the lead owner into the rows box. And in the data box, I'm going to add all the different parameters that I would like to track for each of my salespersons. So my first parameter would be deals won by count. Talks about the number of deals that my salesperson has won. The second parameter which I would like to assess is the win rate in percentage. So I pick it and I put it into the data box. I'm also going to try and understand the value of sale that's got converted by the salesperson. So I pick the one amount and I put that into the data box. All right, for the purpose of this demonstration, I have manually defined the sales targets for each of the salespersons in this data set. So I'm going to analyze to see whether our salespersons have achieved the targets or not. To do that, I'm going to pick the targets that I have manually defined and I'm going to put that into the data box. And I click here to generate the pivot table. So you have a well laid out, well broken down report of the sales team's performance. You have the names of the salespersons as against their number of deals that they have closed, the win rate percentage, the sale value, and the last column is a target. So it doesn't end here. Depending on the nature of your business, you can keep adding more KPIs to this table to have your salesperson's performance analyzed in a better way. Now let's understand whether our salespeople have achieved their targets or not. To do that, I'm going to simply subtract my actual sales from my planned sales. For this purpose, I'm going to make use of the powerful formula engine built inside Zoho Analytics. So you can click on the Add Formula button that you see on the screen. And this is the formula wizard. So I'm going to name the column as Achieved. And I'm changing the data type to currency. This is the formula box where I'm going to key in the formula. I'm going to subtract my current sales from my sales target, and I hit save. I click here to generate my pivot table. All right, so what you see on the last column are a few positive and negative numbers, which essentially helps you to understand whether the sales teams have achieved the targets or not. So anything that's positive means your current sales are greater than your targeted sales, and that helps us understand that the respective salesperson has achieved the target. So you have a team of 11 people, and it's pretty much easy to understand whether they have achieved the targets or not. But imagine a situation where you have sales teams as big as, say, 50 or 100. It practically becomes pretty difficult to understand whether they have achieved the sales targets or not. So, in such cases, a color coding of the achieved column comes in handy. And for that, I'm going to use the conditional formatting in Zoho Analytics. To do that, I click on one of the figures and I click on conditional formatting. And in here, I say anything that's greater than 0, I color code them in green. And anything that's less than or equal to 0, I color code them in red. You have it right there on the screen. So those who achieve the targets are marked in green, and those who are yet to achieve the targets are marked in red. So like I said, this becomes a versatile reporting platform where you can keep adding more parameters depending on the nature of business to help you understand your sales team's performance. So I'm going to quickly save the report as a team performance report. All right, so let's get back to our presentation. All right, so having been able to come out with a sales team performance report, that's going to help a sales manager precisely monitor the sales team's performance, align the activities just in case if needed to help the team achieve their sales goals. Also, it gives us the facility to monitor the performance in a very versatile way. Like I said, you can add more KPIs to this report. And finally, it gives you a very objective outlook of assessing your sales team's performance. Well, you may get to know the team's performance at a very high level in a CRM product. However, powerful BI applications empowers sales managers and the entire sales function by enabling them to assess their teams across parameters that can be very specific to the nature of business. Let me congratulate you for setting a realistic revenue target and for assessing your team in a very objective fashion. So, what next? So, internal reviews have become an essential part of a salesperson's life. Now, most of us sitting here are thrown into chaotic situations where we hit the panic alarm in an internal review. So, what kind of situations are these? Does that ring a bell? With overwhelming data, how do I efficiently handle sales reviews? All right, our sales manager is in a similar situation. Our sales manager gets bombarded with too many questions during the sales reviews. So essentially, a sales manager needs to understand the data relationship, and the data structure to help him answer these questions on the go. Well, I'm sure you would agree with me that we go prepared with certain set of reports and dashboards to answer the questions. However, internal reviews turn out to be very different from what we perceive. So we have a lot of questions being asked on the go for which we might need some assistance. So what if I told you that I can get you an intelligent assistant who can seamlessly answer these questions? Now, our sales manager can simply talk to this assistant in natural language to help them handle these internal reviews effectively. Now, that takes us to ZIA. ZIA stands for Zoho Intelligent Assistant. ZIA is an AI driven engine that empowers salespersons like you. Now, to understand the power of ZIA in helping you handle these internal reviews efficiently, I'm once again going to switch to Zoho Analytics for that. All right, on the left hand side panel, the fifth block or the button is Ask ZIA. You can just click on that, and what you see on the screen is a ZIA interface. In a typical internal review, you might get questions from out of nowhere, and that's where exactly ZIA comes into picture. Now let me show you a few examples where you can actually answer these questions on the go and also get some powerful insights from the kind of reports that ZIA can help you get to. Let me take the first example of trying to understand the best performing salesperson. ZIA is able to understand that question that's in natural language, that's English, and is able to analyze that and is able to present the most appropriate answer for that question. Now, this may not be sufficient in just trying to understand the best performing salesperson. You might also want to know the sale amount against the salesperson. So I'd say best performing salesperson by one amount, that's the sale amount. And you have a suitable report, one that you see on the screen. And then our sales manager might face questions like win rate by age tier. All a sales manager needs to do is just ask ZIA, and ZIA can get you the most appropriate insight like the one that you see. So ZIA has broken down the different age tier as against the win rate percentage and has presented to the sales manager. Now you might also want to understand the one amount by lead source. This means from where did you get these sales from? You have the different lead sources mentioned on the x-axis as against the respective sale amount that has got converted from that particular lead source. All right, so with ZIA in place, you can efficiently handle questions of any nature on the go. It can also help you drill down into some powerful insights to get to a different level of or a different approach towards your entire sales. Let me switch back to the presentation. So like I was just saying, with the help of ZIA, you can just interact with a platform and ZIA can understand those questions and help you get some powerful insights. It supports the sales managers in performing ad hoc analysis, and these ad hoc sales reports come in very handy during the internal reviews. Like I also said, ZIA can help you extract some hidden insights, and of course, your meetings turn out to be pretty much efficient. Though a CRM product offers basic reporting, a powerful BI application supports ad hoc reporting on the go with ML-powered intelligent assistants like ZIA. Now that helps you save a lot of your precious sales time. With that, we move on to our stage 4 on the revenue growth cycle, and that's all about your supporting activities. So folks, any guesses? Any guesses what is this epic battle that I'm talking about? Yes, it's not Thanos versus Avengers or Batman versus Superman, but this is an age-old epic battle in the corporate sector. Okay, that's between the sales and the marketing teams. So the question here is, did the marketing activities really support me in achieving my sales numbers? Our sales manager has the same question, and there is the cup or the credit. The credits keep shifting between the sales and the marketing teams. So who has actually done the work in helping the sales team get the numbers? So what if I told you that we can create a vantage point to measure the effectiveness of these activities? Now, if I were to translate that into technical parlance, What if I can fetch data from different ad platforms, from my CRM application, and also from my finance product, and have them blend together in one powerful BI platform for precise analytics to understand the impact of one activity on the other? So that takes us to the next section on blended dashboards. So let me switch to Zoho Analytics to explain this. So here I'm not going to build a dashboard for you, but I'm going to pick one of the dashboards that I had built earlier to explain to or to help us understand the effectiveness of the marketing activities in helping us reach our sales goals. So you can click on the dashboards, and I click on the executive dashboard. So this executive dashboard is a collection of reports built from data from different sources such as your Google AdWords, Google Ads, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and also from your CRM platform and from your finance product. So you can see some profitability trend reports here, pipeline versus expected sales, leads to invoice funnel, leads conversion by industry source, the geographic distribution of your sales, revenue, and your customers, and a lot more. I'm going to pick one particular report that's going to help us understand whether the marketing activities were really helpful in achieving our sales numbers. And that's the leads to invoice funnel. So let me expand that for you. So on the top of the funnel are the leads that the marketing team has garnered from different ad platforms. So the count stands at 3,900. The marketing team further qualifies these leads, and that becomes the second portion of the funnel, and we call it deals. So from a lead base of 3,900, the marketing team has qualified leads to the tune of 3,632. That's around about 93%. That's a fairly good percentage for any organization. And then these leads are given to the sales teams, and what you see are the leads those have got deals that have got converted. So from a deal base of 3,632, 1,426 deals have been converted. Now that's around about 39%. Now, that may not be a very favorable number for an organization. So you might probably want to understand the processes that the marketing teams have put to qualify these leads, or B, the bottlenecks that exist within the sales team in converting the marketing qualified leads into sale. Moving further down, you can see that out of 1,426 conversions, only 1,030 invoices have been raised. That means only 72% of the conversions have been billed. Now, probably that could be because of an operational bottleneck, which you might want to talk to your sales teams to identify that. And at the bottom of the funnel lies the real money, the collections, and the collections stand at 25.4%, which is certainly not a favorable number. So probably you can use this funnel to identify the gray areas and to initiate discussions to try and fix them. So I just explained to you how the data from different ad platforms, from your CRM platform, and from your finance platform has been blent to build this report. So by getting a report like this, you will be able to understand the impact of the marketing activities in helping you achieve your sales numbers. All right, so let's get back to our presentation. So with the blended dashboards in place, you're able to understand the business impact of different variables. These could, you need not restrict them to your marketing activities. It could also be your support tickets. You can understand the impact of the support tickets on your sale, and so on and so forth. You can help your marketing teams align their activities in helping you achieve your sales numbers, and you have it all in one single dashboard in one single place that gives you a holistic and a detailed view of what's happening within the sales team and the marketing team. And finally, most importantly, it helps you build accountability within your team. Finally, we move on to the last and the final stage of the revenue growth cycle, and that's about course correction. Here in this stage, I'm going to answer that $1,000,000 question, and that question is, where should I focus to revive my sales numbers? Okay, now let's take the case of our sales manager. Our sales manager has multiple territories and regions mapped to his basket of sales. He has targets defined against different product categories and products. Our sales manager has a fairly huge team of salespeople to manage. And finally, a sales manager has multiple sales promotion campaigns being executed under his supervision. Now, with all this in place, how will a sales manager ever get to know the area of focus unless a sales manager is able to drill down into finer details on the sales reports? So that takes us to the section where we will try and understand how we can drill down into these reports to get to the exact problem or the gray areas for improvement. To answer this question, now I'm going to pick one of the reports that I had built earlier, and that's the sales by location report. So what you see on the screen is the geographic distribution of the sales across countries. You have sales in United States, in UK, in Russia, in India, and the other countries. Now, the problem lies somewhere beneath this report. Now, let me show how. So, let me take the example of United States, where I would like to understand how my lead sources are performing in the country. I drill down and I get to see the different lead sources on the x-axis and the respective sale amount on the y-axis. So I get to see that cold calls could be done in a more better way. So I further drill down into my cold calls just to understand how my sales team is handling the cold call. So by doing so, I get to know the performance of my sales team under the cold call lead, and on the y-axis are the sales figures. So here I get to see that Rosario is performing well, but the performance could be much better. So I would further like to drill down into Rosario's performance to see what exactly has gone wrong there. So I would like to see Rosario's lead status. There you get it. So you get to see a lot of junk leads being pumped into Rosario's portfolio. So this could probably be the starting point to take up a discussion with the marketing team in trying to understand why the junk leads are getting into Rosario's portfolio. And not just that, you can also see that a lot of leads, a sizable number of leads, are also getting lost. Now, that could probably help you initiate a discussion with Rosario in trying to understand where exactly the problem lies to help Rosario enhance its sales numbers. So, with the ability of our sales manager to drill down into finer details, now our sales manager is able to pinpoint the problems in no time. Now, that's going to throw a lot of insights, some deeper hidden insights on the go. This has also helped the sales manager in optimally utilizing the time. Now, instead of running around, having multiple discussions, he can just drill down into these reports to pinpoint the problem. And on top of all that, you can get all of this in one single place. Typical CRM service might offer these reports, but they might be scattered and lying in different places. Now, you might have to understand the correlation between these reports, whereas a powerful BI platform will help you drill down into these specific KPIs in trying to understand and fix these problems. All right, so we are done with all the 5 stages. So I'm going to quickly summarize this webinar for you. So we got introduced to the revenue growth cycle, and the stage 1 on the revenue growth cycle was all about setting some realistic revenue targets. So one of the most popular questions is, how do I commit my sales numbers to my boss? And we saw how we could forecast the sales figures and use them as your guideline values for helping you set some realistic sales targets. Stage 2, we spoke of performance monitoring, where we wanted to understand the performance of a team. That's where we built some versatile reports that could help us analyze a sales team's performance across a lot of parameters and KPIs. On stage 3, we spoke of internal reviews, and the question was, with overwhelming data, how do I efficiently handle sales reviews? We took the assistance of Zia in helping us answer these questions on the go, performing some ad hoc reporting, and to get some powerful insights during these internal reviews. Stage 4 was all about introspecting the effectiveness of the supporting activities, where we were probing on the question, did the marketing activities really support me in helping my sales numbers? We saw how data from different sources could be blended into a powerful BI platform to understand the business impact of one variable on the other and to ensure effectiveness of the campaigns. And the final stage was all about trying to find out the area of focus, where we made use of the powerful drill down feature to get into finer details of sales in trying to pinpoint the exact area for improvement. With that, I would like to say that Zoho Analytics is a highly data agnostic platform. Our domain experts constantly work on integrating Zoho Analytics with a lot of popular business applications. And what you see on the screen are some of them: Zoho CRM, Salesforce CRM, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, HubSpot, Sales IQ, Exact ERP, and Shopify. So moving to the interesting part, now we are opening the floor for a Q&A. A couple of FAQs I'm going to answer before you can post your questions. Is this webinar being recorded? Yes, this webinar is being recorded. And will you share a link with me? Yes, we will be sharing a link with you with a copy of this recording. All right, now the floor is open for questions. You can post your questions inside the questions box. Now I have one of my colleagues, Silas, joining us, and he will be assisting us in taking these questions.
So hi, hello all. This is Silas from Zoho Analytics Product Management. All right. So the first question that we have is, what are all the options in terms of data blending? All right. So the answer would be, of course, as you know, Zoho Analytics connect wide range of data sources that right from your local computer drive or a cloud drive, or it could be the different business applications in different department level or business level or domain level and so on. And of course, we do connect the databases that hosted over the cloud and on-premise. So you have the option to blend data across different sources. All right. So you can set up one workspace where you can import data from multiple sources. And as long as you have a logical relationship between the data sets across different sources, definitely you can blend the data. So let's go for the next question. What are all some key difference between the inbuilt report available in a CRM application and how exactly it is different in Zoho Analytics? All right, so okay, so the answer is, of course, as you know, that the inbuilt reporting features inside the CRM would be limited, because in any given CRM application, the primary focus of that the independent software vendors who build the application would be developing a powerful CRM system, not focused on analytics. So when it comes to Zoho Analytics as an independent BI tool, it is more deep and more powerful, where you have the option to slice and dice your data in any given dimensions. And of course, we offer a lot of interactions, so you can really analyze your data in different dimensions. And the other advantages, as I said before, you can blend the data from different data sources along with your CRM sales data. For example, there are cases that you want to blend the marketing data with a sales data and see everything in one dashboard. Definitely, you cannot do it in the inbuilt reporting features available within a CRM application. So, considering that, analytics is more deep and more powerful in terms of analytical functions and also in terms of consolidating and analyzing your data. All right, so let's wait for the next. All right, so the next question: can I embed or see these reporting objects inside another application? Of course, you can do it, as Zoho Analytics offers a very powerful sharing and collaboration features where you can generate some permalink URL or embedded iframe. I mean, you can generate some iframe snippet which can be embedded inside another application seamlessly. So all those reports would be live and dynamic. So your end users or maybe yourself can access it from anywhere at any time. So that flexibility will be available in the product. So let's wait for the other. All right, so we got the other question. Can I save my data in a local server? Okay, Zoho Analytics is the only product where we offer in both as well as on-premise flavor, meaning you have the option to use this application in the online just using your browser, where the data resides in the Zoho Analytics servers and you can take care of it. Or Zoho Analytics offers the option to deploy the product inside your local network or in a private cloud environment as well. So that would allow you to have your data resides within your local network. And of course, we have a database bundled in it. So that definitely provide you some, the control of having your data within your network. And the other point is, in case if you're trying to export the data that you have it in Zoho Analytics and put it inside a local database, of course you can do it. We offer the powerful export features where you can export the data from the user interface or through the powerful API stack that we offer. All right, so let's wait for the next. All right, so we got another question from Mark Nelson that where I get info to set up an executive dashboard. It seems to be daunting. I believe the demo setup that what we have is, of course, it provides a all-in-one view where you can view everything in one dashboard, basically. So it is something that you need to set it up based on your data sources, because currently what we have built is a demo setup that we use for the marketing and other purpose. Definitely, we will be able to guiding you in terms of how to set up an executive dashboard with your data sources. So let's say you have your sales information in a CRM or a database, and you have a marketing information in different applications like Google Ads or Google Analytics and so on, and etc. So obviously, we can fetch all the data into Zoho Analytics and we can build the executive view. But it's not available as a pre-built option. Definitely, we will help you in terms of creating the executive view. So you can get in touch with us. You can send an email to support@zohoanalytics.com. Let me repeat it. It's support@zohoanalytics.com, where they will be able to guide you how to do it. And let's go for the next question. All right, so I have another question from, I guess it's a guest user. Well, have you planning to integrate Zoho Analytics with R and Python? All right, so this is in terms of the BI domain. It is more advanced feature. You can analyze your data extensively using the R language and Python. Currently, Zoho Analytics doesn't have the feature to support these languages, or does not have the option to allow you to analyze the data using the R and Python with your own algorithms. But definitely we have this in our to-do list. It's something that we have it in our priority. So we are planning to provide this support in future where you'll be able to have your own algorithm and analyze your data. But of course, you can, I mean, currently Zoho Analytics offers a very powerful API stack, which can be used to export the data or something, and you can have it used with some other extensions. As of now, that's the workaround, but we do have it in our to-do list. Definitely, we will keep you posted, or maybe we will update our user community once it is available in the product. All right, so let's wait for a few more questions. Probably let's allow a minute of time and wait for a couple of questions to answer. All right, so I got another question that can I get some notifications if my sales target? Definitely. Of course, Zoho Analytics offers a feature called alerting, where you can configure the data alert with a different criteria. For example, if the sales target or maybe any given parameter or a metric being achieved, you can get a notification. Or if something that goes wrong, or for example, let's say you have average sales amount are supposed to be closed on any given day, so that your run rate towards your target can be achieved seamlessly. So if you have this, if you have a report in such a way to visualize, certainly you have the option to configure an alert, and if the sales target was not achieved on a specific day, you will get a notification. So you don't need to come to the system to view that or keep a tablet of it. So I think with that, let's wind up the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us through support@zohoanalytics.com. And let me hand it over the session to Ashwith.
Thank you, Silas, for that interesting Q&A session. All right, folks, so you can write to us, like Silas was mentioning, on support@zohoanalytics.com. You can get to know more about Zoho Analytics on www.zoho.com/analytics. So that brings us to the end of the webinar. Thank you very much for joining this session. Have a wonderful, great day ahead.